Hey, Lady Moguls, welcome back to another segment of Lady Mogul Talk. And today we have the fabulous Jalynn Jones, who is a gerontologist, transformational speaker, and Black Entrepreneurship Thought Leader who has created a wonderful platform called Black, Pretty, and Paid University to stimulate the economy. For the past 5 years, Jalynn has been nationally and regionally ranked as a high performer in corporate sales, business development, and marketing, generating over 2 million. Yes, you heard that right. 2 million in corporate sales while working for 3 of the largest healthcare companies in the United States. She is also a member of the first Black Greek letter organization and is an HBCU graduate. Shout out to HBCUs, who is passionate about nurturing a new lane of mindset shifting for a new age of Black entrepreneurs. Jalynn's coaching style is laser focused and is focusing on rising stars in their industry who desire to amplify their purpose, their passion, and foundational knowledge to sustain a business venture. So we are really excited to welcome Jalynn and learn more about her experience and just get to dig deep into this amazing entrepreneur. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you. I appreciate this.
Yes, and I'm so excited to get into this conversation, especially learning more about this corporate background and generating 2 million. Oh my goodness. Not everybody can boast about that. So I first want to just start off. I mean, you've also been in the health field as well. So I want to start off there. How did you get into the field that you're in today? How did your skills from health translate into your skills as a business entrepreneur and thought leader?
Excellent start to this amazing Lady Mogul Talk. So I believe I've been an entrepreneur before I even knew the word, really. It really stemmed from being 13 years old, wanting a cell phone. And like, okay, if I want the cell phone and mom says you got to buy the cell phone, well, I have to figure out a way to generate the money to purchase the cell phone. And that's when we used to have the prepaid card. So then you would actually have to purchase the cards as well. So I began doing things like, babysitting and picking up small tasks and things of that nature with a few family friends. And that's how my entrepreneurial spirit was birthed, and then went on to, start like a hair operation as a youth. And that really was like the seed of entrepreneurship before I ever went to college, right? Mm-hmm. But when I got to college, I studied business administration and healthcare management as my concentration. I was already working as a certified nursing assistant. And if people aren't familiar with what that is, when you typically go to the hospital or a nursing home or any medical field where a nurse is there, there's typically an assistant that helps them with some of their tasks to take care of the patient. And I had this influence with healthcare. I wanted to help people. Most of the time, that's why people go into healthcare. It's because they want to help people. But when I entered into healthcare while I was studying my second degree, gerontology, I started to realize some synergy between statistics with Black people and their health, as well as with their family dynamics and the way that they looked at money. And it all stems back to entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is a part of our health and our wellness. And it's a part of our legacy. And what I began to see is that a lot of Black and brown people were dying without the proper medical care, without the proper plans. Just to share, I worked in hospice and palliative care. So that's like the field of death and dying and comfort for people that have life-threatening illnesses. And I just started realizing like there's so much alignment with, if I can teach entrepreneurship and help people start businesses, they can lead healthier, more promising lives, and they'll be educated enough to know what it's like to understand your wishes and understand the importance of your health. So I began to see a lot of correlation, which further encouraged me to be a business coach.
And I think that's so amazing because you definitely bring a unique perspective to this space, and it's more of a holistic approach. Usually you see that coaches and consultants are niched. Okay, so we're going to focus on mindset. Okay, we're going to focus on the finances, but you bring all of that and incorporate it into one. I think that's one of the main things that drew me to you when I first learned about you. I believe it was on Clubhouse. Yes, Clubhouse, when I heard you speak. And so your energy and then the way that you presented yourself, it really just shows as a testament your skills and that you really do have a passion to help others. I just want to give you kudos for
Thank
that.
you.
Now, I want to continue on this track about your experience because you've also worked in the corporate space. And so a lot of us have the small business owner mindset, but we really should adopt a corporate mindset or
Oh,
think
yes.
through. And that's why I really wanted us to hone in on the term mogul. So are there certain practices that you've noticed in the corporate world that small business owners, and I put that in quotes, should adopt in their own industry?
This is amazing because what I learned about sales and marketing is exactly what I teach as a business coach. So corporate sales is where I came from, helping large, nationwide, and sometimes even international healthcare companies generate leads and close deals and sales and contracts. And what I began to realize is that the difference between a corporate company and a small business owner is about, I would say, just to keep it simple, we could talk about three things. Number one, the plan and the constant evolution of the plan of how you're doing business. And corporate America, they've invested into so much planning, and they change and shift plans as the industry and the market changes because they're always on top of industry changes. So that was the one part. The second part is the massive marketing and advertising budget. There's so much money available, whether it's a large pool or a super designated pool, available for marketing, advertisement, collaborations, partnerships, things of that nature that help strengthen the way this company appears to their consumer and how they attract business is intensified. And the third thing is the research and development. Corporate America has the funds available to try things and fail, whereas small businesses, the budget for research and development, R&D, is so limited. It's so limited. So we have a challenge with trying things for our business. So we kind of go with one system and we stay there, even if it isn't the great fit for our business model. So what I try to teach in my framework is how to scale down corporate strategy. Whenever you have a big idea and you just think it's way too big, all you have to do is scale it down to size, to budget, to capacity. And once your capacity grows, the budget can grow, the idea can grow. And I think just what happens is we don't have the planning, we don't have the budget, we don't have the strategy, nor do we really do the proper research. So making sure that people do that, that helps people scale down corporate strategy so that they can thrive in their Black-owned business. And lastly, I would just add to that, the reason why these things are so important is because 8 out of 10 Black-owned businesses fail within 18 months, according to several resources. And this is current data. So if we want to thrive, we have to plan. The two main reasons why we fail, 8 out of 10 Black-owned businesses fail, is because of funding or capital and planning. So if we understand how to scale down, we have the budget to scale down, and we have the plan to understand where we're going, then we increase our rate of sustafirst.
That was amazing. We can end the segment right there because you just dropped so many gems just in this moment. First, the strategic planning piece. Yes, that is so important because a lot of my clients, they think they could just plan in a week and, oh, it's one and done. No, it takes a lot of planning. It takes a lot of tweaking. And then you spoke to the research and development. It really is important, not just like your target market, but just your offer? Does this align with the target market? Does this align with your values? Will this meet your bottom line? And then, I mean, just all of it. And then the experimental part of it, that was very key for me, because a lot of, again, in quotes, small business owners are afraid to experiment. And where I am now is not where I started, because of, as you were saying, you have to evolve your industry, you have to evolve with what your audience wants. So I think that those are really key pieces. And I love how you said to scale it down from corporate to make it in simple, plain terms for those who might not have the corporate mindset just yet. So I love everything about what you just said.
Thank
Now,
you.
transitioning into your platform, you talked about how you saw a need for entrepreneurship in the lives of Black individuals. So tell us a little bit more about your motivation to start Black, Pretty, and Paid.
Yes. Oh, that's such a great one. You're just on point with these questions.
I do what I can.
Yeah. So I've been an entrepreneur for 6 years, but in transparency, although I felt like I was doing well into my community, I was doing well. My pricing and my strategy was very amateur in the marketplace, and I wasn't generating the income that would sustain my business. So after 5 years, I wasn't expecting to pivot, honestly. I was doing resume writing and career coaching primarily, and some business solution stuff on the side. Didn't even realize that it was coaching. And unfortunately, my stepfather passed away in August 14th, 2020. And when he passed away, something sparked inside of me. And like I said, he was a step parent, and he was in my life since I was about, 13, 14 years old. And so we had a relationship, but our relationship was one where we spent a lot of time talking about the development and forward movement of Black America. He was an entrepreneur himself, but he was a poor entrepreneur. He was 76 years old when he passed away, and he was a carpenter. He had his own truck, he had his own operation, but he's very stubborn in the fact that he worked alone primarily, and he barely charged his worth, and he didn't have a constant stream of business. So he found himself on the other side of wealth, even though he had like all the principles and the knowledge and the tools to guide like another generation. He hadn't really mastered it himself. So I had basically thought to myself, what can I do to honor this man's legacy and to like refocus my grief in this moment to something that's productive? Because that's the type of man Papa Joe is. I could kind of like hear his voice. Don't be crying. Y'all go ahead and bury me, and you go get that money. You go do this. You go do that. I could hear his voice. So what really encouraged me to pivot and go full throttle with Black, Pretty, and Paid University is I felt promise behind it. I founded this organization because I noticed Black women had a major lack in the area of understanding how to sell. We are great ideation strategists, so we could think of great ideas, but when it gets time to put our idea in the marketplace and sell our product or service, we are drastically undercharged, and then we also have a challenge with the sales process. So, and understanding our value. So I started Black, Pretty, and Paid to help women evolve in sales, and as true business women. So not just an ideation strategist, not just someone that can come up with good names and nice branding and cute stuff, but can you sell that cute stuff? Right. Can you sell your creativity and your ideas, and are they actual functional in the marketplace? So that's why I started Black, Pretty, and Paid a little bit over a year ago.
And as you were speaking, I have a similar journey. I'm always still learning, of course, but yes, definitely. Yes. When you said amateur strategy and everything, I was like, oop, yep, that was me. I wish that I had some of those tools earlier, because there is so much to learn when it comes to starting a business, and that just was not in place. And yes, Black women do tend to be, unfortunately, behind when it comes to strategy as opposed to the counterparts. And that's also why I started Black Women Moguls, because of the American Express statistic about us on average earning about $24,000 a year, as opposed to 100,000, over 100,000 with other women-owned businesses. And so there is a need for your platform to just show us how the sales process works. And again, speaking from experience, I was not comfortable with sales. I've gotten so much better, thank goodness. But there are so many other women who are just still in a place of being stuck, not communicating their value and worth. So there is definitely a need for what you do. And speaking of sales, we definitely want to know, what skills did you have to cultivate to become a high-ranking performer that's recognized nationally and regionally? Not everybody can boast about that.
Yes. And being the youngest and the blackest.
Okay.
And I think the reason why I had to insert that is because there's someone looking, or that will be looking at us. And, they can relate. They're currently sitting behind their corporate desk, or they're driving around, for their job, and they are young, or they stand out in their job, in their workplace, because of our melanin. And anyone that knows sales knows that it is a white male dominant industry. So how did I become nationally and regionally ranked? Well, I decided to debunk white men selling strategies. And I don't say that to be prejudiced. As a white man, there's a certain privilege that happens when you come into a room. Mm-hmm. And I started to notice this whenever I would have to shadow other salespeople, because they wanted to teach me, sales. And one of my trainers was actually a white man. And I noticed how he could just come into the room. He could interrupt people in mid whatever they were doing. They would stop. They would listen. They would do it with whatever he said. But allow a Black woman to come into an office, a quiet office, and interrupt everybody with whatever they're doing, and see who listens, and see what the reaction is. I had to debunk the way sales was being taught to me. And I had to inject the sales process with confidence, innovation, and compassion. So instead of the hard selling, take somebody's credit card and their left arm too type of selling strategy, I decided to instead infuse selling with compassion, leading with relationship building. And everybody will always wonder, like, Jalynn, how are you just got here. We've been in this industry for 10 years and you're like already on the charts. Like, what's going on? I was like one of the top 3 salespersons at my previous jobs. And I would tell them, really, honestly, all I do is build relationships. And they're like, but this is what the strategy looks like. Well, honestly, when you know how to build relationships where you actually care about the people you are interacting with, they can feel that. Your customer can feel when you actually care. And if you show up enough, even if they're not buying from you yet, if you show up enough and they notice that you care, they will ultimately separate you from everyone else that comes across their office, whatever ad they're seeing, whoever else is setting an appointment with them, because ultimately they're seeing how much it is that you care. You are rising as an authority in your sales process, and you are going to convert that sale. So that's really how I became, a top salesperson, is just understanding how to show up confidently, how to be innovative with tweaking what people were teaching me. So not just taking blueprints and copying and pasting, but understanding that as a mogul, right, as a lady mogul, we have the ability to transcend current thought processes. We're thought leaders, and we can't be afraid to shift things when they feel uncomfortable for us. And we understand that a lot of our fields in business have been dominated by men and people that don't look like us. And that's the reason why we have to put our special sauce on stuff.
Oh, you know what? That is perfect because I was going to talk about the special
Yes.
sauce. That was my next question. It's the perfect segue. But before I do, I just want to just touch on a few of the points that you mentioned about, in other words, you were a trailblazer in your previous jobs. You did not go with the status quo. And then the cliche is not what you know, it's who you know. And if you have both, you can definitely be a force to be reckoned with. So I think it's very important for us to understand the importance of building relationships, especially like in
Absolutely.
my own personal journey. Building relationships has been the thing that has catapulted me the most with partnerships and getting referrals. So it really is something that we should not ignore in our business. Now, going back to the special sauce, because this is literally the question. I was going to say, you say that your secret sauce, that was how it's going to start, right?
Oh,
So in your bio, you said that it was your powerful voice along with some other um, strategies and elements that incorporate your secret sauce. So I want to know, was this something that always came easy for you, or was this something that you had to work, or was it a process that you had to find your own voice?
as powerful as my voice has always been, I had to find my voice. And the reason being is because somewhere along my journey, I felt muted. And there's a young lady named Sierra, and she has a book called Unmuzzle Your Message. And I actually took some of her, I invested in some coaching with her so that I can understand, like, who muted me? Like, where along the lines did I feel like my voice didn't have power? And it can go all the way back to childhood, but just kind of pushing it up to, we can all relate to being in high school and raise your hand or blink twice if you weren't the most popular person in school. But what muted me was that I was bullied by a few women, in high school and in college. And notably, one of the women that was bullying cyberbullied me. And she critiqued that I was like a philosopher. Like when I spoke, like, you're just trying to be philosophical all the time, and you don't really follow what you say. You're not living like what you say. And she said it much more gruesome than that. But basically, she made me feel like my words didn't matter. And I had to essentially get back to understanding that I needed to step into my purpose. And the only way I could do that is if I wasn't living in the shadows of bullying, cyberbullying, physical bullying, whatever the case may have been. One thing that really helped me was doing pageants.
I was a pageant girl.
Yes, we must have a lot in common. But pageants. I did my first pageant in high school. In my senior year, I was vying for a scholarship. And I did my second pageant once I got to my sophomore year in college for Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, the chapter on campus. And those moments were pivotal for me. Learning how to posture, learning how to stand, learning how to speak and project to a crowd full of people. Once that curtain opens, it's showtime.
Yes.
And your confidence must rise to the occasion. And I will credit pageants as being the breakthrough moment for me of realizing that I had a voice and that I could use it as long as I was elevated in my, the way I presented myself. There's an etiquette that I had to learn and that I'm still learning, by the way. There's an etiquette as a lady. That's the first thing that's in your title. It's a lady mogul. As a lady, there's a certain way we present ourselves, and there is power in being a woman and understanding how to, operate in your full womanhood is a part of what generates confidence, and confidence is the key to selling. So that's what really, helped me. So it was something I have been born with. I was born with the voice. I was born with the innovation and the creativity and the entrepreneur spirit. but standing up in the marketplace for myself, being original, being creative, being a lady, those are things that I am forever, evolving into.
And I think we all are. And that really is a great point. A lot of us are born with purpose and that voice, but sometimes it just takes that development and that just making sure that we enhance what we already have. And sometimes it just takes that one moment to recognize, okay, we are more powerful than we recognize. And it's time to step into that. I love that. That's a beautiful story
Absolutely.
that, of course, it was not beautiful in that moment, but I'm sure this helps someone in their own journey. Now, transitioning just a little bit, what is one important lesson that you wish you would have learned sooner in business?
Ooh. I wish, and I'm going to say, I wish I would have learned and implemented,
Mm,
because I learned and I knew, but I ignored.
mm-hmm,
Learning how to invest in yourself and what to invest in first. Because over 5 years as a amateur business owner with a business degree, can't nobody tell me nothing. I've been an entrepreneur forever. I have a degree in business. I know everything. That was like my little, the way I felt. And so business coaching wasn't super sexy,
mm-hmm,
when we first became entrepreneurs. And I thought conferences and coaching was just super cliche. It's not extremely popular in Black America in
mm-hmm,
terms of like the way we think about starting a business. Now it's heavily popular.
right.
But what I wish I would have learned and implemented was investing in a business coach, investing in getting help in the areas that I needed help in, because
Mm-hmm,
you go faster when you have support. You
definitely.
make more money when you have support. You have more clarity, vision, and accountability when you have that level of support. You could
Mm-hmm,
do it the long way by yourself and you'll still be successful, queen,
mm-hmm,
because that's you. That's what you do, girl. You are always going to be successful. But who wants to, in this day and age, take 5 to 10 years to do what you can actually do in one?
mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm,
that's what I had to learn. The moment that I started investing in my business was the moment my entire business did a whole flip,
right.
totally unrecognizable, just from learning how to invest in myself.
And I can attest to that too, because I'm going to take your term, amateur business owner, strategist, and everything. It was when I started investing in, I guess now I'm on my third coach. Even coaches have coaches because you might be able to see what's going on in someone else's business, but sometimes you can't, you're so close to your business, you can't see the gaps that are hidden there. And so you really do sometimes, even if you can't invest maybe within like thousands of dollars of a coach, start somewhere with the coaches,
Somewhere.
like with the classes, with group coaching, something, even a mastermind. Maybe it's a 1 day mastermind where you get some feedback from the group, but somewhere, because it really does help to accelerate. And when I started investing in my coaches, even though I was crying, I was like, Lord, this investment, but it was worth it. The knowledge I gained, the partnerships I've gained, and so now, like one of the partnerships, she now refers people to me, and I'm like, you were my business coach, and you're helping me now, and you respect me that much. You just never know what will come from investing in a coach. And again, this is the perfect segue because literally my next question was about more about your services. So you say that you help rising stars who desire to amplify their purpose. And so, for someone who says, yes, I want to amplify my purpose, what is one step they should take now? And then this is also the perfect segue to tell us more about what you offer.
Yes. One thing, and I'm going to talk directly to the queens that would be aligned with me. And the one thing that you have to do when you're ready to amplify your purpose, when you're ready to step into your vision, is you have to be willing to give someone permission to help you.
Mm,
because I'm just gonna be honest, the women I coach are high achievers. They have accomplished quite a bit. They've been through a lot of things. They've taken a lot of losses. They're ready to win, but also, they're at that point where they've been so self-taught and they've
Mm-hmm.
accumulated so much knowledge that when they encounter someone like me, they're like, "Oh, I know this stuff. Oh, I know this stuff." And so what I have to tell my queens to do first is you
Mm-hmm.
have to be able to give me permission to speak into your life and into your business,
Mm-hmm.
because you have to be willing to receive information that you may already know, that but you may not be the best implementer at infusing what you know into what's actually a part of your practice.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the first thing. That's the most simple step, it sounds like, but truthfully, it's not easy. It is not easy at all to allow someone to come into your business, something that some of us see as our baby. It's a part of our legacy. So that's the first step. And the services, you basically share my services. The
Yes. Mm-hmm.
services that I offer, so we offer services at three different levels. So one level is called an intensive level. The other level is a membership, and the highest level currently is a group coaching program that's designed for women who are ready to generate 5-figure months and they want to set up their business foundation for
Mm-hmm.
that. So our membership is a social sisterhood for women in business, and we serve as a marketplace as well as a business coaching community. So you join a group of high achieving women and we do community coaching. Last night we had a 4-hour intensive together. And it's not just about, it's not a Coach Jalynn show.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's a high achiever. So it
Mm-hmm.
takes so much pressure off of the leader to lead, because everybody is supporting and surrounding each member with a level of accountability and clarity that helps one another. So I'm a woman of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, and I truly value sisterhood. And that's the reason why I started a membership, is to create more camaraderie around
Mm-hmm.
women in business. And these women support each other, they purchase from another, they refer to one another, and they have truly built strong relationships. So those are the different levels that we offer. So the intensive level is similar to what some people would call a VIP day. It's a high, intense, high impact level of support. It's a short version of what you would get with me working long term, but it's a different level of investment that's typically extremely comfortable for most people. And then we have our membership as well as our coaching program. So that's how we work. And I would love to, work with anybody that's interested and they hear something that sticks with them.
And I know it's an amazing program. And I also want to revisit what you said earlier about permission. And that reminded me of, I can't remember if I do this every single time, but I remember one time specifically when I was reaching out to a new coach, I was like, okay, Lord, let me be humble to learn things that I may already know or be open to constructive criticism. And sometimes, yes, they might teach something over and that you already know, but it might click in a different way or trigger a strategy that was like, oh, I didn't think about this in that way. And so it leads to you implementing maybe the same information but in a different way, and that makes all the difference
Absolutely.
in your business. So I thought that was very important to highlight. And so yes, please support Coach Jalynn. Let us know, how can we keep up with you, if there are any websites or social media that our audience should be aware of?
Absolutely. So you can search Coach Jalynn on Instagram, LinkedIn, or Facebook, and I will come straight up. You can also type in Black, Pretty, and the word AND and paid, and will come up on Instagram as well as on Facebook. And you can also find me on Clubhouse. So Clubhouse is my stomping ground. I love to spend time there. And so I'm Coach Jalynn on that platform as well. And if you're looking to get started with a phone call, you just want to, understand if you're ready to shift your Black business to, $10,000 months and beyond. You want to learn how to sell. You want to operate like a true businesswoman. You have the talent. I can't take that from you. But what I want to infuse into your talent is how to incorporate that into a business model. And that's what we do. So we do a Shift My Black Business call. And if you're looking to, get started with that, you will go to blackprettyandpaid.as.me/I'm ready. And you would then, book your call.
This has been a phenomenal conversation with you. I have really enjoyed myself. And okay, I shouldn't say this, but this is definitely one of my favorite conversations of the year.
I win!
Sorry, I love everybody, but all the gems and just the alignment between you and I think is just so wonderful. Are there any last words that you wish to share with our audience?
I would just say, be a lady mogul. Sell, build your business. Don't be afraid to invest in yourself and to surround yourself with Black women who are doing big things. We're not in as much of a anomaly or unheard of as you think, but there are Black women doing powerful things, making buku money, and you're no different than them. So step into your power and amplify your purpose. That's all I would say.
Drops mic. That's the perfect way to end the segment. Thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you for everyone watching. This has been another segment of Lady Mogul Talk, and we will see you next time.